Now, one thing I used to have in there is one of these little electronic tea candles. There's other small choices. I've shown you the wind-up little LED keychain lights. The reason I took the light out, not just for weight, it was very redundant. If Max has this kit with him, it means he has his backpack with him. And if he has his backpack, you better believe I have a Life Gear glow stick. And I've just taken this little cord organizer, the Velcro, and I use that to attach. But he's always going to have a light, whether it's a flashlight or his little beacon light. So there's really no reason to add more weight or something like that. Now, there are plenty other little survival gizmos and stuff, little button compasses and things like that that I could put in there. But with all my redundancies, I think this is pretty fair. I've got a cutting blade. I got ways to start fire. Most importantly, the first thing is this is a first aid kit for Max. So the cotton balls, the gauze, the roller gauze, these are all items that you can use to secure bandages. Now, most wounds are going to be of their feet. And I mentioned this before, and one thing that even if I'm not making him wear his boots, is I always have him carry one boot, and sometimes, because it doesn't weigh much, I'll have him carry one sock also. And the main reason is just foot injuries are the predominant injuries for dogs on the trail. Whether it's in the snow and they get ice and their pads wear down, if they're a house dog, they're not used to going out all the time, their pads are just soft. I've only had a couple foot injuries, and they were usually human related. And it was because some jackhole thought he would be cool and break the beer bottle in his camp. And, Max was 20 feet ahead of me, and next thing you know, he's licking his foot because a piece of glass cut him. And so in order for him to hike out, it's kind of awkward to see him with one on there. But you ever try to bandage a dog's foot, especially when he's going to be active and walking on it? He's going to lick your bandage. It's just soggy. If you put any ointment on it, he's going to lick it off. You're going to bandage it, he's going to lick it off. The only way to really do it is to put a sock on it. And if you have a spare hiking sock and you duct tape it, that's perfectly fine. I happen to have the ones that are made for dogs, so it works out a little bit better. To make sure the sock doesn't wear down on the rocks or get soggy in the snow and the wet, then that's where the boot comes in. And that's primarily most of the injuries that I see. I have had to deal with a hard left side puncture from a dog scurrying down a huge steep hill just for fun, and happened to go a little too fast and got a stick that didn't bend out of his way. Instead, it bent into him, and he didn't care. So it wasn't that we had to subdue him or anything. I don't keep a muzzle in here. If you deal with other people's dogs, and I'm not saying that Max wouldn't try to bite me, but I have a very dominant posture on Max, and even if he was injured, I know he would think twice before doing it. I'm not worried about it. Max, other people's dogs maybe, but you could even, use some Coban or something, a sock, you can improvise things. The main thing, especially if it's a major traumatizing wound, is your jacket or a sleeping bag. If you're near a truck, then a blanket, something to put over the dog. You're going to need to calm the dog. This is where some other things might help keeping the dog from freaking out. I did have a buddy, same hunting buddy that recommended the thermometer. He did suture a dog once in the field, and that's sort of your own choice. The only thing that I know I had in here that I know I'm missing, I'm going to go get a spare, because I don't know why it's not in here. Alright. Now, I used to carry a little styptic powder in there, but as with anything, if you don't ever use it, and that goes with this kit, I guess. I haven't ever had to use any of this stuff, but when you're breaking down your kits at the end of a hike, you should ask yourself what you didn't use. And that was one thing I never used. It's really for small minor cuts. For larger bleeding, and the thing that I thought I had in here is I've got a bunch of these little QR topical powder for cuts and lacerations. And essentially, it's a coagulant powder very similar to Quick Clot. And I'll be putting that back in Max's kit. I've got a couple of these for small day hikes. The Quick Clot are really large, unless I'm really doing a hardcore activity or like mountain biking or something with power tools, high speeds. Then I usually don't carry the Quick Clot. I'll carry the little tiny ones. But yeah, you can't really get bandages around dogs very easy. Band-aids aren't going to stick to dogs, so you got to stick with getting the wound stopped, for bleeding, treat it for an infection, and then keep it clean, which is really kind of what the gauze. So if you've got enough gauze, make sure you can go around the torso of your dog. Smaller gauze, obviously, you can use to help control bleeding until you get the bleeding stopped. I don't really recommend, suturing in the field or anything, but if I've got an issue with something I can't stop, I can use that whatever that powder is, the QR powder. Well, I may have to play with the size, and I may just vacuum seal it as an abrasion resistance anyway, but it's fun trying to play with these guys. I will show you the seal on there, and it is sealed, as you can see, but you pull it right open, just like it was a stock MRE. Pretty neat. So let me know if you guys have any questions, any suggestions. Again, this kit was built just over the experience that I've had. Obviously, different climates and different dogs and stuff are going to have different needs. But if I didn't say it already, we're going to use this as the entry into USN ER Docs contest with Brian over at, I believe it's Trails for Tails. Hope I got that right. But I look forward to hearing your comments.